Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to paint this simple line and wash watercolor landscape, but I'm using acrylic paint. So this is just regular acrylic. Craft paint works well for this. Sometimes craft paint works better than the heavier body acrylics, just because they're easier to mix up and water down. But either one works, either of those or watercolor paint. Now remember, the paint will go wherever you have water. So it's only going to go as far as you've wet it. So wherever you want your paint to stop, that's where the dry paper needs to start, because it won't flow into the dry paper. And I want to keep this really loose, and I'm not filling up the whole paper. I'm just kind of, this is kind of a, I guess a vignette. It's just, it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the paper. Again, I'm keeping this very loose. My light, I guess, is coming from the right hand side, so or the right top corner, so it's kind of casting shadows that way. But this is not realistic at all, so you don't have to stick with the rules of cast shadows. But the main thing is I want to put color into this, and I want to leave a lot of white, because that's what makes watercolor look so good, is that all the white that shows through, and the really soft blending. This is a very limited palette that I'm using today, just yellow, red, blue, and black. And what that does is it kind of forces me to mix colors instead of just using colors straight from the tube or whatever. Because when you mix colors, especially using the watercolor technique, when you mix two colors, as they settle into the paper, they kind of separate sometimes a little bit, and you can see both colors, which is really nice when you're looking for this kind of effect. Then that's really nice to have those colors kind of separate on their own. When I want to lighten up my color, I just add more water to my brush. And that helps me to kind of just blur it out where it doesn't have a definite end to it. Remember, you want to leave some white showing. You don't want to cover up all your white. Once you cover it up, it's covered, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can add in white acrylic or white gouache or something like that to put your white back in, but it looks a lot better if you just naturally leave it. And when you're putting greenery in, you want different shades of green. You don't just want to go with one flat shade. So I've got little clusters in my tree here. So I'm keeping my darks more toward the bottom of each cluster so that it looks natural. Now I lightened it for this one back here because it's more in the distance, so I don't want it to be as dark as the others. Now I'm dirtying up my yellow a little bit, just so that it's not so bright. And I'm going to dab this mostly onto the tops of the greenery. Now I'm using the very tip of my brush, barely touching the paper, to put in the tree trunk, and I can go back and thicken it as thick as I want. This is just a little patch of grass that where the tree comes out of the ground, and I want my tree to come out over that bush so that it shows that it's in the front. All right, now I've dried it, and I'm coming in with my fine liner, which you could use a Sharpie, like an extra fine tip Sharpie for this, but I'm just loosely drawing in some lines, and this will help define things and give it that nice line and wash look that most of us like. And see, notice here on the tree, I'm staying away from this tree on the right hand side because that's where the light's coming from. So that makes it look like the tree has a highlight on the right hand side. If you just leave just a little bit of a gap there. And here I'm just scribbling circles and just swirlies and just whatever, just texture. I'll put a little bit over here, but I don't want much on this one because it doesn't need to be as obvious. Now, lay in some shingles. Very loosely. You don't want this to look like you're trying to make it real looking. And anywhere that I want it to be darker or thicker, I'm just going over it. Just scribbling over it. Alright, now I can come back and put in just an indication of some block on the outside of the house. But I don't want to go over the whole thing, and just here and there, just little patches of it. I think that looks really cool. Try not to be perfect with it. All right, now I want to frame it. But before I frame it, I want to pick a matte. So I've chosen 3 colors that might work. And so I just want to decide between the 3. So this one brings out the yellow in the trees. This one kind of brings out that natural color. And the green brings out the yellow. So I went with the natural color. But before I do that, I want to ink my edges, kind of age the edges. You don't have to do this, but I think it does add a lot to it. And if you don't have any of this ink, you can get it on Amazon along with this. This is called a blending tool that I'm using. So you can order those on Amazon. All right. I think that looks cool, and there it is framed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and God bless you.